floating, floating like a breeze in Santa Fe. Got a ringing in my head, and it goes to push me out of bed. I heard a girl call a lover on the phone. She longed to flee to Paris with her daughter far from home. Tell me, do I mean anything to you at all? Mark, don't laugh, you're all I want. Just don't leave me alone. I wanna run 10,000 miles along the highway. Run away, turn away, fly away. We'll blaze like angels through the night, burn our souls in holy light. Run away, turn away, fly away. The lipstick painted waitress counts the numbers in my head. She loves her baby's daughter, whose poem I just read. She shared her life with me, stories beautiful with misery. A grandma being mom, 'cause her daughter had to leave. It's been 3 years since we've seen her. My life is no sad saga, sometimes I don't even miss her. I wanna run 10,000 miles along the highway. Run away, turn away, fly away. We'll blaze like angels through the night, burn our souls in holy light. Run away, turn away, fly away. You'd see I'm beautiful if I could only shed this bitter skin. I'm hidden in the shadows on the outside looking in. I'd hold your crippled sorrow, rock you gently as I could. Let's shake the walls down to the ground and scream our pain like children. The pretty brown-eyed girl likes to play with my guitar. She laughs and dances for me at her ballerina bar. She holds me close, says she doesn't want to let me go. Her tiny head against me, I sing to her real low. I can see all the beauty that's inside you. Don't let them tell you all that you can't do. Your dancing is so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I wanna run 10,000 miles along the highway. Run away, turn away, fly away. We'll blaze like
hijack a pre-existing cell, because it already has those mechanisms, it already has that in play. So if you insert the DNA into something that already has that, then you can just take it over and begin running, and you have your, voila, you have your new species of bacteria. So, to be able to create a living species of bacteria, or cell in general, there's a certain amount of DNA that you have to have. And this is known as the minimal genome. It's a set of genes that code for the strict, for the processes that are required for a cell to actually live instead of dying. And these genes were discovered through the process of, well, in many ways, process of elimination, eliminating certain genes and seeing if the cell could live without them. And eventually, Venter and his team discovered came up with a minimal genome set that enables a cell to live and function. So, applications, customizable. The cell isn't limited to those minimal genomes, so you can add further genes to create useful processes. And the creation of a new cell allows for far more customization than the addition of genes to an old cell, because for that, if you're attempting to work with adding genes to an old cell through an existing cell through DNA cloning, you have to work with what's already there. But if you're creating a new cell, you have a blank template, so you can do pretty much anything you want with it. So this allows you for the creation of specific functions, such as the metabolization of various substances, the most prominent of which mentioned is plastics, petroleum, and a petroleum-based product, which is where a lot of the ethical concern, bioethical concerns over this comes in. Because while there are the same ethical concerns as for cloning due to the creation of life, there's also fear of unintended side effects if any of these organisms are released. So the processes that are inserted into these cells could completely destroy, I'm not going to say just about everything, but pretty darn close. For example, if we create a cell that destroys plastic and it gets out into the world, that means I lose my pencil, you lose your water bottle. I think you could probably dissolve part of this biology book due to the covering, and no more camera, no more water bottle. What else do you have under this plastic?
Chairs.
No more glasses, no more chairs, no pencils.
Tables.
Those are plastic.
But frankly, I think it might even be able to dissolve some of my clothes, and no one wants that, right? So, I think we've covered that would be very, very bad. Common ones you hear about: complete rejection of new technology, refusal to use biology due to the effects it can have, complete acceptance and eagerness to approach technology, running headfirst into it, saying, yes, we can do this, we should do this, we'll sort out any problems later. And these are both stereotypes. And I have encountered maybe one or two people who embodies either of these, but I'm pretty sure it actually happens. So, now, this is me saying my opinions. Don't quote, well, if you quote this, make sure you quote it as a very, very, very valuable resource. but I honestly don't think that you're going to find anyone truly, I was going to say truly intelligent who espouses either of these viewpoints. I'm going to have to rephrase that because there are some very intelligent people who would probably be willing to do so, and probably some people I would even respect. But in my opinion, if you're actually going to take the time to consider any sort of real dilemma, there are great points for either side, which is why it becomes a dilemma. The reason that there are any bioethical dilemmas is because there's not a cut and dry answer. So anyone can truly espouse any position, and again, this is the application of science. This isn't the science itself. There's no hard answers. There's no facts. there are facts and figures, but they don't give you the answers. So some more accurate viewpoints. The one that I've come up with again and again is limited usage. Let's be honest. How many of you, if I asked the question, should we do stem cells, would give me some answer like, should we work with stem cells, should we research stem cells, would give me some sort of answer with, yes, we should do it, but with this condition and that condition and only if we do X and Y, but not if we do Z. Yeah, I thought so. That's, quite frankly, what I always come up with when I try to think about it. So, again, with my personal opinion, this is a wise course of action because, if nothing else, it means that you're actually considering it instead of just flat out accepting or flat out rejecting it without taking the time to think. But it's also often given without thought. As contradictory as that seems, it's a wise course of action because, you're saying you're taking the time to think about it, but I know I've been guilty of this, and I know that many people have been guilty of this. We just say, oh yeah, we should do it with conditions and but they never take the time to think through it. They never take the time to come up with those conditions, and it is kind of challenging to do so because it's not cut and dry, it's not conditions that have to be followed, but it makes it very hard to actually make progress in any sort of ethical debate, any sort of ethical course if you're not actually spending the time thinking about it. So, I'm going to ask you this. If I asked you to come up with your own sort of approach to the ethics of the creation of life, would you be able to do so? Anyone?
Wait, can you repeat that question?
So if I asked you to come up with your own opinion on what we should do about all the stuff in this PowerPoint, would you be able to do so, and would you be confident in it if you did?
I think that you could make rules, but you can't be confident that it'll save you from all the possible dilemmas. Like you can say we could study with stem cells and only use them for marrow, but you can still cause some damage.
Exactly. So